to show respect to the audience and respect your own business. It was a way to protect it.
And I'm Kayfabe Adrian, and I'm Kayfabe Focus.
And I'm E.A.
It's Kayfabe Avenue.
Ladies and gentlemen, heels and faces, casual wrestling fans, and all you smart marks, I'm Kayfabe AJ.
And I'm Kayfabe Focus.
And this is Kayfabe Avenue. And tonight we bring you the AEW wrap-up. We run down all the results of Dark. We're going to touch upon the AEW rank system. And as always, run down the results of Dynamite and discuss what happened on this week's episode. So a lot to unpack. Let's get right into it with AEW Dark Elevation, also known as Light Dark. To start off, we got the return of the Acclaim. I keep forgetting the other guy's name, not Cassidy. Anthony Bowens. He's back from injury, so Acclaim is back in full force. They defeat Liam Gray and Adrian Alanis. We got Orange Cassidy picking up a win against Dean Alexander. Layla Hirsch and Ryo Mizunami defeating Amber Nova and Diamante. I guess Diamante is looking for a new tag team partner. We got Nick Camarado defeating VSK. Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page defeated the Dark Orders. Alex Reynolds and Alan Angels. We have Matt Sydal defeating Joey Janela. We got a rare Joey Janela appearance. Big Swole and Red Velvet defeat Nyla Rose and Maddie Rankowski. Ray Phoenix defeats Chuck Taylor. Ryan Nemeth defeats Ryzen. And Chris Statlander defeats Tesha Price. We also got a AEW Rising Star package on Layla Hirsch, which I'm happy for. I'm glad that they really spotlighted her because she's next up. I think she needs like a little bit more flair, maybe a little bit more chance to show some personality. But other than that, I think she's next up. So
yeah.
Heading over to AEW Dark, or as we like to call it here on Kayfabe Ave, OG Dark. We have Brian Cage defeating Marty Cassius. We have Lee Johnson defeating Will Allday. Layla Hirsch defeating Renee Michelle. Oh, the return of Renee Michelle. Interesting. We have Penelope Ford defeating Ashley D. Amboise. I hope I said that right. SCU defeats Liam Gray and Adrian Adonis. Varsity Blondes defeating Duke Davis and Gannon Jones. Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, and 10 of the Dark Order defeat The Blade and Private Party from the Hardy family. We have Lance Archer defeating Jake St. Patrick. The Acclaim once again defeating D3 and Poor Fuego. How many weeks are we going to go through this? Fuego. Matt and Mike Sydal defeat David Ali and Aaron Fry. Dante Martin defeats Andrew Palace. Diamante getting some singles action, defeating Rachel Rose. Colt Cabana defeats Cole Carter. And Kylan King defeating Danny Jordan. So that is what we have in store for Dark.
Dark and Dark and Medium Dark as well.
Medium Dark, all the darks.
50 Shades of Dark.
That's going to be the next show, 50 Shades of Dark. All right, so let's head on over to the AEW rankings for this week. All right. So starting off with the men's division, which, as we say, should be split in two every week. I just can't fathom why the fuck they got the same 5 people round robining for the TNT and AEW World Championship. Is the men's ranking system is the most convoluted system in the entire company. It just utterly makes no sense. Second place being the tag division. So let's see if there's any anomalies we could pick up this week. So we have the first anomaly, the first glaring anomaly. Since when does Impact wins? And you pointed this out earlier. Since when does Impact wins reflect AEW rank system?
Now.
Now that he's champion, I guess, right?
Yeah.
That shit makes no sense. It's not his first appearance. He's already fought twice in Impact. It didn't affect the stats. The man was sitting on 3-0 for weeks on the singles division. Come on. The picking and choosing of who's being highlighted is ridiculous. Then we have Darby Allin at 8-0. I don't think that 8-0 was that high last week. And he wasn't on any darks. So I don't know how accurate that is. Darby has been doing the weekly challenge, so I can understand him having a high number. We have Hangman Adam Page at 8-0, which makes a lot of sense. He's been on a good undefeated streak. This was the anomaly to me. I don't know if he snuck his way on. Maybe you can shed some light on that. Orange Cassidy is at 6-0. I know he had one on Elevation, but
That's all he needed.
That was all he needed to jump up in the ranks.
I guess so. Because you got to understand, Powerhouse Hobbs and Jungle Boy got knocked off. So now we got 2 new contenders on the ranking system.
Which make sense for me. How is Pac still here? He hasn't fought in weeks as a single competitor.
Because he's the bastard.
How is 10 on the bottom of this rank? With
Because
one.
Because they needed to elevate him so they could give an excuse to have him facing Darby.
How is he not above Mox?
Because Mox says so in his contract that he's above 10.
He's going to be above 10.
Obviously.
So once again,
so you want to bring that up? Where the fuck is Max Caster? Because technically,
he never lost. He never lost again.
He should be number 2 right now.
They purposely took Max Caster off the rank system to throw him back in the tag team with.
But that doesn't even make sense because
that doesn't erase his
because Pac was on the singles, and while he was on the tag team as well, so that doesn't even make sense.
AEW, come on, get rid of this shit already. Get rid of this nonsense rank system.
And then on top of that, Jungle Boy was on the singles and the tag team ranking shit too.
And he lost one time and got completely dropped off.
Cause that's it. Flavor of the week is over.
All right, let's move on. This shit is crazy. We got the women's ranking up next. We got Hikaru Shida finally picking up a win last week, so she's at 3-0. Giving Tay Conti another loss, so Tay Conti drops from number 1 contender to the 3rd contender. We got Britt Baker finally jumping up to number 1 last week. She announced that shit right after Tay Conti lost, which was hilarious. We have Thunder Rosa at number 2. Nyla Rose, who hasn't been getting much burn the past couple of weeks, 6-2. And Red Velvet.
She's been doing dark.
Yeah,
she's been doing tag team matches for some reason, so they could keep her
tag team. Yeah.
When ratio down.
All right. So let's move on. That the women's division is the one that usually makes the most sense every week. So
even though it's the weakest division in the whole company.
Crazy, right? She needs to not be champion. Moving on. We got the Young Bucks at 3-0. We have SCU strong at 11-0 with asterisks because they lost the tag team battle royal. And they technically shouldn't even be a tag team anymore. We have Jurassic Express 7-0, Varsity Blondes 9-2,
9-3,
9-3 after the streak.
Battle Royal.
Oh, you still counting the battle royal, right? Exactly, because this should be 11-1.
Then
Uh,
7-1, 9-3.
we got the Claimed at 5-1, and FTR clinging on to the bottom of the ranking, even though they're completely undeserving and haven't had a tag team match in any capacity in the past month. Yeah, it's FTR.
Because
So,
it's in their contract that they have to be on the
yo,
ranking system
at
the
this
whole time.
point, I truly believe it. At this point, I truly believe that. All right. So that was the AEW rank system. Once again, convoluted. Once again, making no sense. A lot of anomalies. And what can we expect from a scripted program that tried to have a sports-based rank system that really doesn't take into consideration that storylines change wins and losses. So, anyways, let's move on to AEW Dynamite. The show starts off really strong with Hangman Page versus Brian Cage. Before he can even make his full entrance, the entire Team Taz whoop his ass. Start jumping him. The Dark Order comes out, starts fighting off Team Taz. They end up getting sent to the back. Brian Cage ends up power bombing Hangman Page on the ramp. And this is where my problem lies. Good match. Made Hangman look amazing. Even in defeat, Brian Cage is the winner. But this is my problem. After getting jumped by 5 dudes, after taking a power bomb to the ramp, you guys went more than 5 minutes. Is Brian Cage not a monster? Is Brian Cage not 200, damn near 300 plus pounds of whatever they're trying to book him as? Is he not a machine?
Well, they try to go for the resiliency of Hangman Page.
It doesn't work in this situation because you diminish the power of Cage.
Are you going to diminish the resiliency of Hangman?
It's not diminishing the resiliency of Hangman if you just got jumped by 5 people, took a power bomb, and then maybe took a finisher.
But he still lost though after all of that.
I mean, he lost, but he wouldn't, even if it was a quick defeat after the jumping, the power bomb to the ramp, and whatever he would have did it in the actual ring to finish him off, he still would have looked. Still look good.
Because you got to understand, Hangman doesn't want to lose that number 1 contender spot.
Of course not.
So he's gonna do everything that he can to cake out and everything.
I get the way I get what you're saying. I get the way they intended to book it, but I feel after, in my opinion, Brian Cage has been struggling as a character on TV. I don't think he's really grasped any real fans. I don't think he holds the attention. He's not really good on the mic. So the only thing you have is your strength, your power, your dominance. They were supposed to turn that up to 10, especially after a jumping and that power bomb to the ramp.
I mean, he did a lot of things in this match that showcase his power as well.
How powerful are you if you still have to do all of that to take him out after?
But this is like the number 2 person besides that's right underneath the world championship, the number 1 contender to the world championship. This is somebody who, like, if you're facing with, you're gonna have to go an hour Broadway with Kenny Omega in his next match.
Yeah, but I feel like the fans, as AEW fans, people who've been following AEW from the beginning, I feel like we didn't need that from Hangman. Hangman as a character is already solidified. We've seen him.
But if he's already solidified, then we can't just job him out in like 5 seconds, even though he got jumped.
It's not a jobbing if it's Brian Cage.
All right, but it still is jobbing because you're still losing. But the thing is that he has to make him look strong. He's the number 1 contender. he's literally the number 2 person in this whole singles rankings because the TNT Championship don't really matter because
I mean,
oh,
I guess the only excuse I can give to defend that is the fact that AEW doesn't have a clear heavyweight, super heavyweight, lightweight division. Everybody just kind of blends into one division, and just falls where they may, depending on ranking, whenever they care to actually follow the ranks. So I guess, but I'm more in line if this dude already had the 5-on-1 advantage, then did the devastating maneuver. He didn't need that much time in the ring. He could have did maybe one move, Hangman kicks out, and then another devastating move, Hangman doesn't kick out. Having a full-on 5-minute match after all that, I feel like it was unnecessary. Hangman's already showed his resilience, already showed all that, but they haven't been able to showcase Brian Cage outside of it, maybe his debut and the little fight he had with Darby before Sting got involved. Brian Cage has been falling short ever since.
I don't know because they basically showed Brian Cage all of his moves in this one match. Because honestly, Hangman didn't really do much in his match. It was basically, hey, this is Brian Cage's moveset on Hangman.
Yeah, but he was kicking out. He was still
he was kicking out, so you could see more of Brian Cage, see more his strength, see more his agility. Meanwhile, Hangman Page is still the number 2 singles competitor in the company. You have to make him last.
Yeah.
To make him still think that even after he gets defeated, he's still a threat to Kenny Omega.
Yeah, I could see that. I just, I don't know. Maybe I've been rewatching early run Brock Lesnar, and I just miss a beast that just comes in and takes people out, and the power was believable instantly.
I mean, tell Miro to come out then.
He should. He's another big guy that's been booked horribly. Let's move on from that. Before we spiral into the whole Miro thing, we got the Elite backstage in a limousine. So this time they're without the big Elite RV or whatever it was from last week. Winnebago, whatever it was. Which I thought was a horrible segment last week. It was the way it was shot. It was just cheesy, and I already knew that they were gonna explain it away on BTE how the Bucks left, and it's just like it's kind of insulting. Like you guys went for this hardcore element, this real shock value shit, and you went the cheesy route, and it was more of that in this segment in the limo. Pretty much talking about that incident and Kenny, really pumping the fact that they're not scared. Nakazawa by mistake honks the horn and they all start acting like pussies. For no reason, Carl Anderson is sitting there with no pants. We got the Bucks doing their best and worst Shawn Michaels impression. Both of them are trying to argue which one is the better Shawn Michaels. Without realizing they both look like Marty Jannetty right now. I'm not really feeling this segment. This cheesy shit with the Elite. I don't like that. Kenny has a force behind him now. He has a big talker manager. He has two different sets of tag team champions. The Good Brothers being former tag teams now, but you got 2 different sets of champions. Like we're supposed to be seeing you really run rampant. You're telling me 2 guys got your whole group shook? That's it? Just 2 guys?
Yes. Because one of them's from New York.
I guess that's valid. All right. So we move on. We have the AEW tag team title eliminator match. We got Matt and Mike Sydal versus the Young Bucks. And I did really like this matchup. Specifically Matt Jackson was like overselling like his heel work and like talking to the camera, and I did really like the aspect. Do more of that. I want more of that shit and less of the cheesy comedy shit. You know, those little I'm gonna be an asshole to be an asshole, ways that the Young Bucks can be. I feel like that brings out the best of the Young Bucks. They don't need to do this stupid Kenny Omega comedy. And we'll see more of that later.
The Tweaker Toes, my finger bangs.
Yep. But the Bucks end up winning with a BTE trigger on side down after
Which one?
That's a good question.
Which one?
They both look alike.
Anyway,
Matt. On Matt's side down. They end up throwing what was the other side down name?
Mike.
It's Matt and Mike. Jesus. All right, Matt and Mike side down. They end up doing some real asshole shit. Let me see if I can get back to it.
They pissed on the titles.
Oh my god, their own title.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what happened. Matt ends up doing this like super fucking deliberate low blow. Like he like try to do like a Street Fighter super punch straight to Mike's nuts. Like in the camera, really selling it as a heel. Like that was pretty funny. I can't even lie. But punches him in the nuts. He's out for the count, and that's what leads to the BTE trigger on Matt's side now. But this whole match, it was pretty good. It was a decent match all around. It's definitely worthy of a watch if you guys didn't check that out. But this was really just a showcase of the Bucks and their heel like ways. Speaking of the Bucks and their heel like ways, we end up after the match, SCU confronting them and pretty much finally saying, "Hey, we're 11-0 asterisks. We said that we'll break up as a tag team, even though we didn't respect the tag team battle royal you lost. So we don't like how you guys are acting. You guys look like idiots. You guys are acting like assholes. Maybe it's time we take the title off you guys," which was me paraphrasing. It's not word for word what he said, but that was the gist of that conversation. I think it's about time. It's about time SCU stepped up. About time that they pulled the trigger on that storyline, because the Bucks have really just been doing much of nothing but riding Kenny Omega's heel turn. So what do you think about all that?
I think that Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page is gonna mess up their win and destroy SCU.
That makes the perfect sense, and I actually would like it to go that way.
And then they're gonna join, and then they're gonna join the Elite.
I don't think the league needs more people. It wouldn't be too bad of an idea.
Because they're gonna make the Elite the new NWO. Because Tony Khan says that's such great shit.
Yeah, he's doing his best Vince impression right now. I don't know. I don't think we need more members of the Bullet Club right now, especially when some of them are still struggling to get their footing in what they actually want this to be. I do like the idea of Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky messing up the SU, because I don't think Scorpio Sky leaving SU just to jump in a tag team, that shit didn't make any fucking sense. So I think I'd really enjoy that feud, SCU versus Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page on their final run. So after that, we had Jay Cargill with a little vignette, pretty much saying she's that bitch, flexing her abs and shit. We end up with Orange Cassidy versus Penta El Zero Miedo, and this was a really good one. We have Penta doing his Zero Miedo thing and mushing Orange Cassidy's face. We had Orange Cassidy doing the slow kicks, the light tap, the hands in the pockets, the whole nine. Typical match. I think from Penta, we at this point come to expect really great matches from him, and Orange Cassidy got to actually have someone that he doesn't have to be lazy with. So he had to actually pick up the pace.
A
What do you
very
think
points
about
of
this
the match.
match?
I think it was pretty good. I liked when Penta did the Canadian Destroyer and went for the package pile driver, but Orange countered it and then went for like the Orange punch. I like the fact that when they was confronting each other and Orange did go for the Orange punch, Penta just basically super kicked that shit out of him and everything. And it was pretty good because you also had I think either Trent or was Trent or Chucky out there?
It was Trent.
Yeah, either you had Trent there and
He tried
everything,
to
and
catch the glasses and
he caught the glasses.
he missed completely, but was still acting like he had it. That was pretty funny. They rely heavily on comedy in AEW, and for people like the Best Friends and them, it works. Young Bucks right now, no, not so much. But as far as this match goes, I really did enjoy it. Orange Cassidy pulling off the win against Penta. I don't know if Penta should have took a loss though.
They had to.
For what?
So Orange Cassidy could gain momentum
You think
in
they
the
kind
ranking
of
system.
put him against Darby?
Darby. Yep. Of course. Why else would he be on the ranking system right now on the second?
I'd rather Lance Archer, who was nowhere to be seen on this episode, by the way.
No, he was actually seen in this episode.
Where?
We'll get into it later.
Okay, so I missed that part. Presidential debates going on, addresses going on out here. But Orange Cassidy pulling off the win. But yeah, I'd rather see Lance Archer in that position. You're building him up. You got the motivation a couple of weeks from Sting. Use the guy. We have Tony Schiavone interviewing Dr. Britt Baker, and of course she's still in our shit and going through the ranking system, promoting herself as the number one contender. You gotta love Britt Baker. She's firing on all cylinders every week. Her promos are like, you look forward to them, and there's not a lot of women in the division that's giving us that at all besides her. So, more of those Britt Baker promos. Speaking of really, really good promos, the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle do this parlay. I guess it was a meeting between the two groups, middle of the ring. I guess the point of the parlay was have the conversation and they can't touch each other. Is just to let everyone get their voices heard, let everybody speak about the upcoming Blood and Guts match, which screw you, AEW, for fucking putting it this week when we got fucking tickets for that exact show a year ago. Douchebags, you could have just held it. Anyways, my bitterness aside, we had both groups in the ring, and this honestly, it was an amazing promo. Everybody got to pretty much speak. The highlights of it, honestly, to me, was Sammy Guevara promoing against Sean Spears. He demolished that boy. He demolished him.
Even though he referenced WWE?
That what?
Even though he referenced WWE?
I mean, that aside, is facts. It's facts. My biggest irritation when they mention WWE is the unnecessariness of mentioning WWE. But Sean Spears is Ty Dillinger from WWE, so it makes sense. You're referencing his current state in the company, which is not fucking good at all. You're a fucking loser, and you just got, put in this group, and we're supposed to instantly, think you're the next guy up. Sammy Guevara ate this man alive, and he pretty much said that, like, you haven't done shit since you've been here. You're a failure here, and you were a failure in your last job. So, it didn't bother me too much that he referenced WWE in that respect because it was true to what's going on with Sean Spears. It's facts. That was true. It was relevant. Um, it's annoying when AEW will see, oh, they had a sign that says no super kicks. Let's run that joke, through the mud for the next 3 weeks. Oh, they did this over here. Oh, I'm gonna mention reference this for the next 2-3 BTEs. That's where it gets like, come on, like focus on what y'all doing. That was very relevant to the promo, so I did really like that aspect of it too. Um, Another noticeable was the FTR versus Santana Ortiz exchange. Pretty much FTR telling them like, don't bring this version of Santana Ortiz, the ones that are just lackeys, been complacent, haven't really been striving, just riding Jericho's coattails for the last year. And while I know Pride and Powerful, a great team, those are my guys, that was facts. For better or worse, they really have been just behind the shadow of Chris Jericho and not focusing on themselves as a tag team and winning gold for the Inner Circle. So that's facts. I enjoyed it. What did you enjoy about this promo? Any call outs for you?
I think that the MJF and Chris Jericho exchange was pretty good as well.
Who do you think got the better of that?
Jericho, of course.
Jericho. I think MJF had a lot of good points and like good character, like motivations for himself in this. Like, I'm gonna take your spot. He gave Jericho his credit, his props for his position, the fact that he was the guy. The reason why a lot of fans came back and gave AEW a chance or came back to watching wrestling, period. He gave him his just due and told him straight up, I want your spot. So I did really like MJF. But yeah, I gotta agree with you. Chris Jericho definitely did his thing.
I would have liked that Wardlow and Jake Hager grabbed the mic and act like they were about to say something, but just stare at each other for like 3 or 4 minutes.
And then just throw the mics on the floor.
And then just pass the mic to
somebody else talks. Everybody just staring at them like they're gonna say something, and they just throws the mic on the floor, and then somebody else talks. That would have been funny as fuck. But really, really good promo. Really sold the blood and guts match. Really built up the necessity for the Pinnacle to get a win. And I don't know. I'm looking forward to it as much as I'm hating right now that we're not gonna get to see it, and that's the tickets we fucking bought. But anyways, any final thoughts on the parlay?
It was a Parley Party.
Parley Party. All right, we got Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley, and this is the shit I'm talking about. You got Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley, pretty much in the situation with Michael Nakazawa earlier in the limo. Kenny pretty much alluded to the fact that if they want to get to the champ, they got to go through the goons, and his goon of choice was fucking Michael Nakazawa. So
Nakazawa.
So Nakazawa versus Eddie Kingston. Kingston's like, I'm not doing this, Kenny. Like, get your ass in the ring. You broke my ankle. I want you. Like, fuck this dude. Kenny's like cutting his little cheesy promo about being the champ, and you got to go through the goons. Nakazawa ends up hitting him from behind. Then we see him about to. Eddie Kingston ends up doing like a fucking exploder suplex, then puts the chair on his ankle and threatens Kenny that he's gonna smash his ankle. And Kenny's like, go ahead. He knew what he was. I like that aspect. that I did like. He's like, go ahead. He knew what he was getting himself into. Like, break his ankle. Go ahead. Then we see Mox come out, pretty much whip his ass, do the same thing to Kenny, threaten Don Callis to break his ankle. And this is where it's like, where were the Good Brothers who were shown earlier in the episode? Where were the Young Bucks? What the fuck is the point? of all these guys around you, and they never come save the day.
Yo, they were in the bathroom.
They're gonna show, and I know that's the stupid shit they're gonna do on BTE. I enjoy BTE, by the way, but that's the stupid shit they're gonna do. Explain it away. Where were the Bucks? Where were the Good Brothers? I already know what the Good Brothers doing. Carl Anderson's pants was already off. I already know what the Good Brothers was doing. The Bucks had a match. They got more of an excuse, but they're probably gonna be trying to get new gear or repair their furry new wannabe Shawn Michaels leathers, something like that. But Don Callis ends up giving them a tag team match: Kenny Omega and Nakazawa versus Kingston and Mox next week at the Blood and Guts episode of Dynamite. I feel like it's these moments that builds Kenny as a weak ass champ, and you're supposed to be now the TNA, Impact, AEW, and AAA champion, and you're getting booked like a clown. It just don't make sense to me. I don't really agree with his booking.
He's acting like Triple H. That's all he wants to do.
Probably that. I mean, if their goal is to make AEW a complete parody of WWE, then they're succeeding.
I mean, it was already a parody of WCW.
No, it is WCW. Speaking of WCW, we got Tony Schiavone interviewing Taz and Christian Cage, which was a really good promo. Taz pretty much, pressing Christian's buttons, and Christian pretty much called him out like, you're just pissed off that I got to come back after 7 years and do this wrestling thing. You got a lot of words, but you're not doing too much backing up. So I really did enjoy that segment. And Christian pretty much saying, line up all the Team Taz dudes you want. I'll run through them all.
With the woes.
Then we got Penelope Ford versus Chris Statlander. So this is where it got kind of shaky for me with a lot going on, the presidential address. So you'll have to speak on Penelope versus Chris Statlander.
Chris Statlander did awesome solar eclipse, and then she won, and then she blew Penelope Ford's nose, and that's it. Huh?
She just did the boop and it was over.
That's it. The boop and it was over. And that's basically all you need to know about this match.
All right.
And then you had two vanilla midgets on the outside for some reason.
All right. We got AEW Trios match. The Factory, Nick Camarado, Aaron Solo, and QT Marshall versus the Nightmare Family of Billy Gunn, Dustin Rhodes, and Lee Johnson. What do you got to say about that?
I don't know. I skipped this AEW dark match of the night, so.
And that's facts, because I did catch, a lot of spots in this match, and I was not interested at all. The only thing that I saw, and again, speaking of WCW, very WCW reminiscent, we got Cody Rhodes on top of a fucking truck with his image on it, and pretty much beats up QT after the Factory and the Nightmare Family start having a feud after the match. QT tries to escape. Cody ends up whooping his ass on top of a truck, and that leads to their setup for their match next week: Cody versus QT at Blood and Guts. Yeah, it was a dark match. I agree.
It should have been Fuego.
It should have been Fuego versus QT. That's a fact.
That's when they should have done it.
Oh man, I missed this part. Miro brutally attacks Kip Sabian. Finally. Finally. Like fucking finally. Get away from that hot garbage of a situation. But yeah, that's great to know. Damn, I wish I didn't miss that part. I would have been jumping for joy finally. Finally, something I've been wanting Miro to do for months is happening. This leads to the TNT Championship match. Dark Order's number 10 versus Darby Allin. So how'd that match go? Because I missed this one
Oh,
completely.
it was great. It was one of the best matches of AEW so far.
Really?
Um, yeah, they actually
It was
showed
that
out.
good?
10, yeah, 10 is actually pretty good. Darby's Darby, so you know, he's gonna do whatever Darby does. But 10's been improving. He 10's making a strong case to go for like heavyweight titles and everything since he's a big man.
Yeah.
That strong ass spine buster and everything. And he put it like this. He dominated this whole match, and the only way Darby won was through a bullshit roll up after 10 caught him.
Oh wow.
And that was the only way. There was no finishes that Darby could have done to put 10 down. He had to get that roll up.
Wow. So I'm definitely going back to see that main event. I suggest that you guys do the
And
same.
then after the match, we have uh Sting come out, celebrate with Darby, and then All Ego Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky come out and basically throws Darby outside of the ring and beats up Sting. And I think Lance Archer makes the save.
Yeah. Lance Archer runs down to make the save, scaring them off to the back as Tony Schiavone plugs the next show after Dynamite. So yeah, okay. So Lance Archer is definitely still throwing himself around that storyline. So hopefully we'll see that soon. Lance Archer elevating because I feel like they've really just been fucking dropping the ball with Lance Archer.
They've been
But
dropping everybody.
yeah, there is this Impact Elite Bullet Club mess. They created a mess for themselves,
The fucked up thing is that they don't even have Impact wrestlers on Dynamite. Yeah.
and that's the shit. There's been a lot of people on the forums, especially after Kenny Omega won the championships this Sunday, that are complaining like, but what is this doing for Impact? This partnership it's not doing anything for Impact. And it's
Who said it was gonna do anything for Impact?
a lot of people are trying to chop it up like, oh, if you didn't appreciate that, then or if you're not appreciating that situation, that you're just a WWE fan, whatever the hell. There's a lot of what people are going to, but in reality, if you really look at the situation, AEW does no promotion for Impact at all on Dynamites. There's no Impact stars outside of the Good Brothers, and honestly, we already know that's self-serving. They're doing the Good Brothers a favor by putting them on AEW TV just because they're old Bullet Club. Then you go over there, put Kenny over there, beat your champion, but he's barely on Impact.
Yeah.
All right. Tony needs to just admit that he fucking bought Impact already and just use their resources to create a real second show for Dynamite and get this convoluted bullshit the fuck out. They have too many people at this point, and maybe they need to think of a real draft situation like WWE. If they want to parody them, maybe they should continue the parody and try to see if they could do the draft better. So I'll leave it with that.
That shit. Fuck all that shit, man. If they want me to take this Kenny Omega title and seriously, he has to show up with all 4 belts,
Which he
every single time. Not pick and choose. Every
he didn't.
Single.
He showed up with just the AEW title, and the excuse was, "Oh, we have a second card just for all his titles."
No. That doesn't work for me. You have to show up with every single title. Then what? If not, then what was the whole point?
I don't really even know if they even know what's the point at this point. Judging off of the pay-per-view and seeing the little promo they got for Slammiversary coming up for Impact, the only thing that would make sense is Kenny's Gloating World's titles and the newly released Samoa Joe, who they kind of referenced in Slammiversary promo, comes back and beats Kenny for the Impact Championships. It's the only thing that makes sense to me.
That means, but we probably won't get fat nigga music.
Not at all. And with that being said, we can do this all day. So Focus, tell them where they can find you.
You can find me at Kayfabe_Focus on Instagram.
And you can find me and us collectively at Kayfabe Avenue on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. Join the group, join the conversation. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, also at Kayfabe Avenue. And speaking of subscribe, how about you click that support link on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on Anchor, wherever you're listening to us. We're on all streaming podcast platforms, so check us out, all at Kayfabe Avenue. I have been Kayfabe AJ. That has been Kayfabe Focus. This has been Kayfabe Avenue and the AEW wrap-up. Kenny, take us home.
Bye and good